Bart lives in South Jersey. Vitamin D level is 80. Last blood work, supplements with 4,000 international units. You know, it's a good point. Several points about vitamin D. So vitamin D, originally 100 years ago, we thought was just a preventative against rickets, which made your bones bow out. And these were people that had very severe vitamin D deficiencies. So they said, look, you can avoid that with levels of vitamin D in the teens and 20s. So that was originally the goal. And then they said, okay, maybe 40. This was not 5 years ago. This is not 10 years ago. At least 15 to 20 years ago, there was some stuff that started coming out, evidence indicating that what we thought were good, healthy vitamin D levels were probably still a little bit low. You've had this debate back and forth. That lasted for about 5 years, and then it became clear you do need to have higher levels. It was interesting, that debate died down until the pandemic, the recent pandemic happened, and even the larger centers, Hopkins, where I used to work, Harvard, some of the others started saying, yes, the evidence is coming out very, very clear. You do need higher levels of vitamin D. And in fact, people with low levels of vitamin D were succumbing to cytokine storm much more often if they got a COVID infection. Let me bring up a couple of other points while I'm thinking about it. So I mentioned a few minutes ago where the husband and wife come in to see me. And it's interesting. I'll often see a wife who is indoors all the time. She said, I never go out, and neither one of them supplement. The husband is out playing golf a lot, and the husband has vitamin D deficiency and the wife doesn't. Now, there are a couple of common reasons for that. One is that there's some genetic variation in the way that you metabolize vitamin D. So be aware of that. And yes, you have to test. You have to make sure that you get a test and understand it. The other component is there does seem to be some significant impact with body fat. Again, you see, vitamin D3 is a fat soluble vitamin, and I tend to see this. I haven't seen studies. I haven't seen a lot of evidence, hard evidence, but I'm just giving you the impressions that I see as a doctor who deals with this issue quite often. People will get into a fat loss mode and their vitamin D levels start going up without changing their supplementation. So here are a few rules. Number one, don't say, okay, I live in Florida. I live below that vitamin D sunshine line, so I don't have to supplement. Don't depend on that. Sunshine, yes, it does help a whole lot of people, but the bottom line is test, don't guess, at least in terms of this issue. The other bottom line is I've never seen anybody get toxic levels from 5,000 international units or lower. I did talk to a patient this week who had a history suggestive of that. That was the first time I've seen it, and I've never seen it in the scientific literature. Now, why am I talking about that? Yes, vitamin D can be given in toxic levels, and actually had one of my patients come on board. She came to me from another provider doing some other types of work. That provider had given her some suggestions and a prescription for vitamin D. There are common prescriptions for vitamin D using 25, even 50,000 international units. Those preparations are meant to be given once a week. And that was the way this provider had recommended it. But, you hear something, well, if something's good in a little bit, a whole lot of has got to be a lot better, right? She was taking it daily, and she came to me with a blood value of like 130 or something. There have been deaths associated with blood vitamin D3 levels of 130. So be careful about vitamin D. Make sure you're aware of it. The typical best way to approach it is have some suspicion that you're likely to be deficient if you're not supplementing. It's safe to start with 5,000, but get a test. 5,000 international units, not milligrams. Those are different numbers, different times. 5,000 international units or less. After about a month of that, get a blood value, test again, and shoot for a level between 60 and 90. Don't go over 100. I've had this discussion on shows in the past, and some people came on very cavalier saying, oh no, 100's great. No, it's not. Look at the science. I didn't make the science up. I'm just reporting it.